to figure out what's going on with my computer. Okay, hi! Welcome to the Follow Your Bliss Family Happy Hour. This is technically the first call of the year because last week we hopped on Lori's team call. And no, I can't see anybody. I don't know what's wrong with my computer, but thank you guys for hopping on. All of you are frozen to me, so I don't know who's here or what's happening. And I actually have no idea what to talk about tonight. So I was thinking maybe we could do a little bit of a Q&A and see if anyone's brave enough to ask any questions or if there's like a topic that you want me to talk about. I mean, otherwise you guys know I can ramble, but I would love to just do a Q&A and see, like, you know, what you guys are dealing with in your businesses right now, how you're feeling about things, if there's anything that you're struggling with, any questions that you have, I don't know if anyone has anything. And I can kind of like maybe talk a little bit, until questions start coming in. I can talk a little bit about how I'm trying to set myself up. Okay, thank you, Brittany, for asking a question. And I can talk about how I'm trying to set myself up for 2017. But first thing I want to say is this, I'm guessing there's a whole bunch of new people on the call tonight because there have been a whole lot of new people added to the team. And one thing that I did talk about earlier this week is, yesterday, I think I went live earlier this week. It's Tuesday. Like, how much earlier in the week can you get? It was yesterday. And I talked about how I think one of the things that has made me successful, and it's something that I've done my whole life, is be really coachable. So when I reach out, so I think most of you guys, well, no, I don't know. I'm guessing several of you know my story, but probably some of you don't. But I was invited into this business by my sister-in-law, who doesn't work the business. And so basically, I didn't have a me. Like, we didn't have calls like this. We didn't have anything. And when I decided I want to start working the business, I started just listening to National Wake Up Calls and YouTubing things and Googling things and just kind of learning on my own as I went. And one thing that I think has really served me well was listening to those trainings and listening to the calls. I started implementing things that people said to do. So I would really encourage you guys this year to be coachable, because I think that a lot of times people give up and they think that this business isn't for them, but it's only because they're not willing to get uncomfortable and be coachable and do the things that they have learned to do. So, yeah, I talked about that a little bit yesterday. Then I will answer Brittany's question as far as adding new people. So if you guys are familiar, so I just had my shake and it made me like really phlegmy, I feel like. So that's why I keep clearing my throat. But if you guys are new to the team, I don't know how many of you have heard about something called the Power Hour, and that's kind of how you can successfully work this business from an hour a day if you're really focused on your time. I was planning on starting a new coach training group on Monday, but I didn't, so I'm going to get it set up tonight and get everyone added, and I will get it kicked off this week. It's a 14-day, I think what I'm going to do is do a 5-day mentorship followed by our 14-day Smart Start that is self-led. So I will talk about the Power Hours talked about in there and stuff. But part of the Power Hour is that you should be friend requesting 3 new people every single day. So going back to Brittany's question, how you do that, how I friend request people is I go to someone that maybe I think would make a good coach. Like, a lot of times it would be someone I went to high school with, someone I worked with, or someone that I went to college with. And I'd be like, I think that person would be a good coach. And I'd go there, and then I would click on their friends list, and it says something when you click on their friends list, like people you might know, I think. So let me just, Amanda. Okay, so I used to go to this, like, this is just one girl's profile I went to. It says, yeah, So you can go to their friends if it's public, and it'll say different, mutual friends, recently added, high school, hometown, and then you can click on more, and it says people you may know. And then it will list how many people you have in common. And what I usually do then is, if I have a lot of friends in common, I will look and see who those friends are. And if there are a bunch of Beachbody coaches whose names that I know, I don't friend request that person, because I assume then they're sort of involved with the network. But if, I have a bunch of mutual friends and their names that, like, maybe I went to high school with them or college or whatever, then I friend request that person. And thinking at some point maybe our paths had crossed and maybe some point they didn't. But that is how I find it. So I don't go to I would never go to any of your guys' profiles, any coach's profile, and go to their friends list and friend request their friends. That's shady AF. And there have been coaches that have done that. So one of the things that I've also did was I made my friends list private, so that people can't come to my profile and poach. So that's something that you guys might consider doing, is making your friends list private. So it'll say I think it says how many friends you have, but when someone goes to your page, it will only show them the mutual friends. It won't show all of the friends, so they can't search your friends out. But that's how I find people that I want to send friend requests to. Or sometimes I friend request people from my page. So if I notice that people are really engaging a lot in my page, they comment a lot, or they like things a lot, and I just notice that name a lot, or they jump on my live videos a lot, I will send them a friend request. For me, I send friend requests to increase my friend count. But I don't post a whole lot on my personal profile. So then I have to message, behind the scenes and stuff, because the idea with friend requesting is that then they'll start watching you, and, then you can message and stuff too, but they'll start watching you. And I just don't post enough on my personal profile for them to see anything that I'm doing. I use my public profile mostly. So then I will send, a message. First of all, I'll engage with them a little bit. So I'll like their photos and I'll comment on their pictures. It's not all the time, but I'll comment on their pictures so they kind of get used to me interacting with their life a little bit. And then maybe something catches my eye and I'll send them a message about a trip they went on, or something that they're wearing, or something I'm interested. One of the best examples was this girl. I guess I went to middle school with her, and I don't know if this ever happens to you guys, when you meet someone and they're like, yeah, we went to, I'm like, hi, nice to meet you, or whatever. And they're like, yeah, we went to middle school together. And you're like, oh, I don't remember that. I'm an asshole. But this girl went to middle school with me, and I didn't remember her. But we had a bunch of mutual friends in common, so I friended her. She seemed kind of like my, target market a little bit, my age, and fun or whatever. And I started seeing she was really involved in animal activism, and I was seeing all these things she was doing. And then one day she went and protested the circus. And so I sent her a message about that. And because I just had been engaging a little bit and liking, because I'm an animal activist too, but only from home. I don't really do anything for them because I'm the worst. I should volunteer and do more things, but I'm very interested in it. So I was liking and engaging in the things that she was posting. And then I reached out to her and was like, how do you get involved in this? And blah, blah, blah. Started the conversation. And now she's one of the coaches. She doesn't really she's not active in the business, but she is a Stella and Dot person. So she's now my Stella and Dot rep, and we have a relationship. She is a coach. She drinks Shakeology. She does the workouts. She's a huge proponent of Beachbody, so she will refer people to me. But that is one case of someone that I thought was in my market, who I had a lot of mutual friends with. And then I just engaged with her profile, and then she finally reached out after we'd just been talking about whatever. And she reached out and was like, tell me about this thing you're doing. And I got her involved in the boot camp, and then plugged into the page. And that doesn't mean that, it would be a great story if oh, and now she's one of the diamond coaches. She's not, but she's it doesn't matter. You never know where those people are going to come from. But I still am so glad that I know her, because I really like her a lot. And we've developed another relationship. So anyway, that's how I find people, and how things, how then I start building a relationship after I send the friend request. Okay. So Shannon asked if you should wait until the challenge is over before you work the business. I feel like working the business is kind of, really the number one job, no matter what level, my number one job 4 years into this business as a, a leader of an elite team, a 2-time elite team, my number one job is still to work on myself and my journey. And so it doesn't matter, like, if you're a brand new coach or if you've been in this for years, it is still our number one job to do our workout every day, drink our shake, read personal development, and then share that and connect with people on social media. And so when you say work the business, I really feel like no matter where you are, that is working the business. Like, as long as you're being present on social media, doing the things that you need to do, your shake and your workout and your personal development, but then sharing that on social media and connecting with people, I think it's totally fine to start connecting with people, even when you're a beginner, and start documenting your journey. If this is your very first challenge, like, start documenting your journey, because that's really what the business is later. And then, of course, you can layer things on, like, I host team calls now, and I host team calls, and I do other, like, run training groups, and I do other things, but that is just in addition. That will never, ever replace the core of what we do. So I think no matter where you are in this business, that should always be your number one focus. And you will also notice that when you fall off your commitment to your, like, physical and mental fitness and loving the products and being proof that the products work, when you fall off of those things, your business will also fall off. So as long as you remain, if that's the center of your focus, and as a new coach, that's pretty much what you're doing anyway, like, you're really plugged into that challenge group. So I think it's totally fine to start documenting it. And then as you have questions, lean on the team page and lean on me, and Google and YouTube, and figure things out as you go. But I think a lot of times we wait thinking, I don't know enough, I can't possibly coach. And all you have to do really is, like, love the products that we have and share that with other people, and, communicate that passion to get people excited to join you. So, I don't think you should wait. I think you should just start, and then ask people if they start reaching out and asking you questions. And if there's something you don't know the answer to, then you reach out or you ask the question in the team page. But I think you can definitely go for it now. Okay. So those are the only questions that came through. So one thing I will say is that how I also set up the beginning of every year is I think it's really important to, like, vision plan, like, goal set or whatever, strategize the things that you want for the year. And usually I will do, like, here's where I want to be a year from now, and then I'll break it down quarterly. So I think it's going to be really important also for you guys to decide, where do I want to be a year from now? And if you're a brand new coach, maybe you just decide where you want to be mentally and physically, and you don't really know how to set business goals yet. Or if you've been in this for a long time, or if you've been in this for a little bit and you know a little bit about the business, you can set, like, actual business goals there, and be willing, be flexible with that. But then I think one of the things that I know Autumn does every day, and one of the things that has helped me tremendously, is then envisioning what my life is going to be like when I reach those goals. Because I think setting goals of, I want to lose 30 pounds, or I want to be an elite coach, or I want to be making $1,000 a week or whatever, that's fine to set those goals. But if you don't actually picture what would my life be like, 30 pounds lighter, or $1,000 a week richer, or as an elite coach, meaning that you have a large team that you're leading, like, what would that mean for my life? And I say that because it's going to be really exciting in the beginning of the year to, like, people are interested in health and fitness. People are probably going to be coming out, and they're going to be curious what you're doing, because now is the time to join the gym and do your New Year's resolution. And it's going to be fun right now to be a coach. But as that starts to wear off and people fall off of their New Year's resolutions, you have to be the one that still stays constant and focused. And if you haven't visualized, like, really pictured what your life is going to be like once you reach that goal, not if, once you reach that goal, if you haven't envisioned it, it's going to be a lot easier to give up on it. And there were several times before I decided to leave Nike and come home full time where I felt like I was working so hard, and I didn't know if I would ever, like, I would think, gosh, could I ever make this happen? Like, when am I going to stop working this hard? When is it going to get easier? When am I going to get, like, leaders and get other people to join me. And I don't know, it was just questioned myself a lot and thought, could I do this forever? And maybe I just should give up because it's so hard. Like there are times where it gets really hard. But I would then just say no. I had too much of my life, like too many of my dreams and our future plans. Like I could close my, and actually our counselor, we used to go to counseling, made us do that. We'd say like, oh, well, we want to be making $2,000 a week. And he's like, why? What does that mean for you? Like, oh, we want to move to Bend. Well, why? What does that mean for you? Like, what does a day look like for you? And so he kind of forced us to like visualize, why do we want something to happen? And what would it look like? Like if we were making $2,000 a week and we could move to Bend, and those aren't our goals anymore, but they were. And so we would just picture like, what would our day be like when I wake up and we could do this? And, you know, I thought I don't want cable. And we would go for a bike ride and I'd be able to do whatever. Like we got down to like daily. I was like, well, if I'm in Bend, during the summer, I'll go for a bike ride. We'll live in the woods. The dogs will roam. Like I had a life fully pictured so that when I thought, gosh, this is hard. I'm getting a lot of no's and I feel like I'm tired and I'm working really hard. Maybe I just won't do this. Maybe I'll go back to, you know, just doing Nike. That's the safe thing. And I would just be like, no, because then that vision for your life is never going to happen. You'll continue just climbing the corporate ladder, playing that game, feeling like you're never good enough, because I always felt like I was never good enough at Nike because I never played the networking game well enough. So I think set your goals for the year, but also really set like your vision in place and picture that daily and talk about it with your whoever it is that is in your life. Like if it's your husband or your boyfriend or your best friend, like verbalize what that is. And there's no shame in dreaming. There is no shame in planning what your life's going to look like and being, because it also, and on social media, I would get asked a lot, how did you share this before you were doing it full time and before you were making a lot of money? You can share just the fact that you're like dreaming. Most people don't dream. They don't ever like get to think of a life that's going to be better than what they're living now. Most people, I saw just little clips of Jackie Bowl, who is Danielle Natoni's upline, the person that sponsored Danielle, Fit and Funky. She presented at the Dallas Super Saturday this weekend, and I saw her talk about like it is normal to go to your job that you hate and complain about it all the time and do nothing about it. That's the normal thing, to be working for the weekend and then feeling sick to your stomach on Sunday because you have to go to work the next, Monday. That's the normal life. And that's what like everybody accepts. And so you get a lot of pushback when you're trying to do something new. Like you'll get a lot of pushback from people making fun of you, or maybe they're not making fun of you, but they're hating on you, or they're doing whatever because you're doing something different and it makes them uncomfortable. One, they don't know what that means for them. And two, that's also why when you're starting a new diet, you get food pushers, because it's people that want to do what you're doing but aren't either brave enough, don't have the willpower, aren't determined enough, whatever it is. So it's normal. And that was what Jackie talked about, was like, I don't want to be normal. I don't want to just like be working for the weekends. I don't want to be the one that is always complaining about my job and doing nothing about it, or complaining about my weight and doing nothing about it. I want to be the one that's doing something. And I remember when I first started, those of you who have been around for a while have heard this. I worked with a group of women who were awful to me, and they made fun of me to my face, a lot behind my back, but I still heard it. And I remember that was when I was feeling like my most worthless ever. That was when I was in my deepest depression. And it's just so amazing now to be like, the reason that they were making fun of me is because they had their own insecurities. Like you have never, and the more you get involved in the Beachbody world, you don't see people making fun of other people, because Beachbody forces you to work on being your best you. And when you become your best you and start loving who you are, you don't have to try to attack other people and bring other people down. So I feel like that's the reason that they were probably really mean to me, is they had their own insecurities going on. And I just think like, man, what if I would have let them win and I didn't pursue this because they made fun of me doing this whole Beachbody thing? Turns out now, like, I have totally changed. I am happier than I've ever been. They're probably still miserable and found a new person that they can make fun of and attack and try to drag down. I'm probably making more money than them. I definitely have more friends than them because all of you guys, like our team is now over 1,000 people. Like those are all my friends, not to mention the people who haven't joined as a coach who I get to talk with and communicate with on my page, and then the Beachbody Network as a whole. Like I know I have a more richer, full life, and I know that I'm making a difference, and I know that I matter now, and I think they're probably still just stuck in that same old thing, you know, bringing other people down around them because they're too insecure to go out on a limb and try something different themselves. So I think it's really important to not be normal, to have that vision of what your life is going to be like when you achieve your goals, and then just really go for it and know that it's going to be hard. Like at the beginning of the year, it's easy. Everyone, that's what happened. So when I first started coaching, it was January because I was motivated and I saw that was the year Danielle got voted in, not voted, she earned top 10. And they recognized her at this last Super Saturday. From those of you that saw like any top 10 recognition things over this last Super Saturday weekend, that's what I saw on the team page. And so I got excited. That was beginning of 2013. Started working the business. Then end of 2013, like the last 6 months is when I was really struggling mentally and challenged. And then I got remotivated and inspired at the beginning of 2014. And then I haven't let it waver since. Of course, I've had struggles. Like the first 6 months of 2016 was really hard for me. It was a growth period for sure. I know Emily is the same way. We both kind of had a lot of personal growth last year, and so we didn't see a lot of business growth. But January is a lot easier. Everyone's motivated. You're excited. There's momentum. There's like a good energy in the air. It feels good, but it's going to get harder. And so I think that's why you really need to, like, every day be thinking about what it is that you're working for and why are you doing this, and know that short-term sacrifice is going to be long-term gains. I really believe that. And I think that for someone like me who came from being really insecure and totally doubted themselves and had no idea anywhere in their brain that they would offer anything to this world, to now be sitting here with a team of over 1,000 people and 140 people or something on my Facebook page now, and getting messages all the time from people saying that, who I haven't even worked with, just messaging me saying, because I follow you, you've changed my life. Like they haven't even been in my boot camp and I've made a difference for them. Like I just know that if it can happen for me, it can happen for every one of you. But people think like that's why I also want to start sharing, be as transparent with our lives as we can, because I think Natalie made a comment today, one of our diamond coaches, that she was taking her after photos and she started feeling discouraged that she had like belly rolls, and she was like, but then I decided I'm going to share that too, because as coaches, we do have belly rolls, we do have cellulite, we do have stretch marks, we have excess skin, we have all of those things. We're not perfect, but then also the coach journey isn't perfect either. And you think that it looks like, you know, just a straight line, but it's really like dips and valleys and dead stops and then full sprints. It's like, it's a crazy journey, and just, I want you to be prepared for that. Now looking back, time flies, but there are times when I'm in it and it's like seems slow and so hard, but it's also the most rewarding thing ever. And usually the hard parts are the times where you're growing the most. If you don't let it defeat you. So I was talking to Emily about that earlier this year, that I think the first 6 months of this year when my business wasn't really growing, I was really struggling because I was going through a growing pain. You know, we had those when we were kids, but now our growing pains are more emotional growing pains. And I really was like just growing as a person, as a leader, as Ashley. And so I just needed to kind of focus on me and see what I could do. And I needed to struggle, and I needed to slow down and really like kind of look inward so that I could then help more people by looking outward and, expand the business more. So I want you to, I think one good takeaway from this call would be to write down maybe, I'm just going to throw out a number, but if you have more than this or less than this, that's fine. But let's say like 5 goals, or where do you want to be on January 10th, where are we? 17, 18, right? Next year's 18. Yeah. God, that is crazy. So five things of January 10th. I'm going to write this down for myself. 2018, and make these statements. So January 10th, 2018, I will be, or I am. Say those things, and then I'm going to, I'll start a thread, and we can put them, and then I want you to write those down where you will see them every day. And it's amazing how if you review your goals, there's been years where I would review my goals all the time, and then I'll like look back and I'll go to that first goal sheet and I'll be like, oh my God, I achieved like 9 out of 10 of those things. That's crazy, just because you were thinking about it so much and you were putting it out there into the universe. Of course, Elizabeth Gilbert, I think that's who says this, that you have to be like an active participant, like relentlessly active in the manifestation of your own blessings or something like that. Like you can't just put a goal out into the universe and be like, I'm happy, and think that everything's going to work for you. You got to put the hustle in behind it. But if we write those things down and do it in the, like, if you say it, I will be or I am in like the present tense, and then review those things, write them down, put it in a place where you can see it, but then share it with us, put it out into the universe, and then put the hustle behind it. And we'll have that be like a takeaway from this call to set us up for the year. And then just one other thing that I was thinking about that I don't think I've really shared with too many people yet, but I've had this epiphany a while ago was, so the biggest thing, I went to Tony Robbins this year, and he changed, like I struggled for the first 6 months of this year, and then I went to Tony Robbins, and that was at the end of June, and it changed the rest of my year for me. So those of you who saw, he's coming on March 2nd to Portland and March 1st to Seattle. I would definitely see if you can make that happen, because if you invest in yourself, it was $1,000 that I did not have to spend, and I did it, and I've made that back. They say I think it's like every dollar you invest in personal development, you will make back times 10. And I probably made it back times 20, because it was such a game changer for me. But I've said it again, you guys have probably heard me say this, but that life never happens to you, it happens for you. So if I think about what happened this year, we got pregnant, we found out we were pregnant in April, and then we miscarried in June, and I was okay. Like, it was really sad for a couple days, and it was really traumatic when the miscarriage actually happened. But then I just felt okay about it, and people were like really sad for me, and I would get messages of people who miscarried, and like they'd be like, I miscarried 2 years ago and I'm still not over it, and I just can't live in that kind of life. Like I can't operate at that level of just sadness. We just were like, I trust the universe so much, and I know if it's God for you or whatever it is, like I really trust that the universe knows what it's doing. So we miscarried. And then my business hadn't really grown. I didn't see really much growth income-wise this year. And then John's contract at Nike ended in September, and we were going down to a one-income family. And I just remember not feeling nervous about it. Like, I just was like, well, everything's going to work out how it's supposed to work out. Yeah, we might have to cut back, but I just was like, not nervous at all. And I remember my dad was like, family was all concerned, and I don't operate out of a place of concern, because that never serves me. And I just felt like it's going to work out. And then I posted November 11th, a viral photo that I didn't know was going to be viral. I posted it on Friday afternoon at 2:30, right? Like, lots of you guys found me because of that. I don't know how many of you guys found me because of that, but lots of people found me because of that. It was like unexpected, but that was the universe. Like, if I hadn't miscarried, and like if I was still pregnant, I would have been 8 months pregnant then, I wouldn't have posted that. If John was still working, I wouldn't have been able to capitalize the way that I did on this. Like, that totally changed our business and my everything. Like, our income, if you guys saw the post that I made last week when I announced that we were an elite team, it's insane what has happened to our income. And I just think, like, that's what life is happening for me. I miscarried, and John like didn't have his job anymore, and we went to a one-income family so that this could happen. So that when we do get pregnant again, that baby's going to come into environment that is where probably both of us are home. Like John won't go back to work, I don't think, at this point. I need him too much at home, and our income has grown enough. We'll just have to see if it continues on that trajectory. But like, that baby then will have two parents at home. There's no stress. Our business will be at a place where we're more stable and secure, and we'll probably be able to live in a house that is better for a baby, because this one is 3 stories, and I was like dreading carrying a baby up and down stairs. I already am afraid of stairs. It's a weird thing, but I was like, oh God, if I have to carry a baby up and down, like I just didn't want to do it. And so it was just like, sometimes you don't know why things are happening the way that they're happening, but if you just have faith that it is happening for you and not to you, and you trust that the universe or God or whatever it is that you believe in has your back, and you operate at that level. That's one thing they talk about a lot in You Are a Badass, that like you emit certain wavelengths, and when you operate on this shitty wavelength, you get shit. But if you operate on a great, like happy, positive, open wavelength, that's what you get. You get more blessings. And so that's what I thought about recently, was like, I remember not being nervous, John losing his job. And like now we would not have been able to do what we did with this business if he weren't home helping me. Like, he's doing messages and like he takes care of the house. He does everything. And it just wouldn't have been able to work if he were still working. And he's like, we are making more money than his job was paying him. Like, I just feel like, you know, have faith that if you put those dreams and that vision out there, and then you do the work to back up those visions in that dream, that things are going to work out for you. And it's going to be hard. And sometimes I think that things get hard so that the universe is testing you to be like, make sure you really want this. Make sure you realize, like, this isn't just coming easy. You're working for it, and it's testing your commitment, I guess, to that dream and that vision. But I think if you work hard on yourself first, then on putting that out there and sharing this with other people, and then on making your dreams happen, that they will happen for you, no matter what happens for you this year, not to you. I think things will work out the way you want them to. So let's do that. Let's do 5 things. If you don't have 5 things, then fine. Or if you have 10 things, then do that. But say January 10th, 2018, I will be this, whatever that is for you. And then write them down, put them up where you can see them and review them, like maybe on your screensaver, on your phone, or I know Leticia puts them on her mirror where she's getting ready in the bathroom, wherever it is that you're going to see them, and remind yourself that you are going to be those things a year from today, as long as you operate on a wavelength that you're open to receiving blessings and good things. That doesn't mean that bad things won't happen to you, but the bad things are always, there's a reason. It's happening for you. So, any other questions? Yeah, Kelly, never would have found Beachbody if it weren't for the struggles going through layoffs and my husband switching jobs. So you just never know where like the blessings are going to come from, and like what is going to be the vehicle that gets you to achieve those things. And also the other thing, you guys, so just randomly, I had a coach, and some of you might know her, Brittany Funk. She was one of my diamond coaches. She was amazing. Well, she still is amazing, but she was one of my diamond coaches, and I loved her, and I gifted her this trip to Cancun for a Success Club. And then I paid for her and Kelly to come to the Platinum Edge in Dallas, and I felt like we were friends. And then she ended up basically quitting the business because she was just too stressed out. And I love her so much that we still talk and we still maintain the friendship. And she messaged me this week, and we were just talking, and she was like, you know, I hope you know I'm really sorry, but I'm sorry Beachbody wasn't for me, but I am so happy now, and I'm doing all these things, da, 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 da. And she was like, but I'm sorry because I'm not, you know, if I let you down. And I'm like, Beachbody is what saved me But Beachbody isn't what's going to save everybody. And yeah, she's not a diamond for me anymore, but all I ever want and all of our job is to help people live their best life. And I hope that it's with Beachbody because that's what worked for me and that's what I know and how I can share it, but it wasn't for her. She got to diamond, like she hustled her face off and got to diamond, but she just wasn't fulfilled by it. And so if at some point you realize that Beachbody is not for you, that's okay. It's as long as if you give up on Beachbody, let it be because you found something else that is lighting you up, that is, helping you live your best life and is going to make you happier than anything else. I do think Beachbody is that vehicle for a lot of people, but it doesn't mean that it is for everyone. And if you decide it isn't for you, we're going to love you the same. Like if I'm your coach or if someone else is your coach, like we love you the same because it's not about what you can do for us. It's what this business and this community and these fitness what it can do for you and what it can do for our customers as coaches who we invite to this. So, if as you put your vision out there and you realize Beachbody is not adding to your life, don't feel guilty about that, but just find something else that is, because I do think that what this world really needs, Carl's like, I want every household in America subscribe to Beachbody On Demand. I do think that would be great, but I also think like some people have to run and some people have to do CrossFit and some people have to do this or that or whatever. Like Beachbody is not going to be for everyone and it's not our job to convince everyone. Our job is just to, and you guys have heard me, I feel like sometimes I'm so redundant, but our job is to just live our best lives, be our best selves, be a light for other people, and then shine that light outward. And maybe we're the lighthouse that's going to attract people, or maybe we're the lighthouse that is going to show someone else a new island that they needed to, find. Whatever. That's a weird metaphor, but you guys know what I'm saying, I hope. So hopefully we all get to grow a lot together this year in Beachbody, but I just feel excited at the beginning of a year where it's like a clean slate and we all get to decide how this year is going to go. We get to decide how hard we work, how many goals we're going to achieve, how we're going to emotionally respond to there's going to be lots of bad things and lots of crap that happens to each of us this year, but we get to decide how we're going to handle it and in turn, how our life is going to go. So I get so excited at the beginning of a year. And if you think back to like January 2016, a year ago today, like how much has changed, how much I've changed, how much my life is, my friends, the community, like so much has changed a year ago. And it just seemed like it was like that, right? It just seemed like, January was just like, it was like 90 days ago, like a couple months ago, wasn't it? No, it was 365 days. So crazy. So we have a blank slate that we get to do whatever we want with it. And I'm excited to read and be a part of all of your guys' goals that we're going to share on the team page and then work towards together. So I guess that's all, unless someone has anything else to ask or add. No? Okay. Thanks for joining. Have an awesome night, and I will talk to you guys next week.